stay down for a while.
Okay. Well, hopefully for the sake of wellness.
Yes.
So I'm gonna just go ahead and start the thing live, and we can
Sure.
spitball.
No problem.
Really just looking for something quick, like a roundup, to include in this larger thing. So
Happy to help. I hope Dan's okay.
yeah, he's okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know stuff happens.
stuff happens. Yep. Okay. Well, welcome, Brett, to
Hello.
our newscast update about various projects that are live and ongoing at the moment. We wanted to see if we could talk to you about some of the things that are going on at Arkham Gazette.
Sure, I'd be happy to give you guys an update. It's been a little while since we talked.
It has indeed, and you've had some work in the works. For one thing, that we did announce this a little while back, but Arkham Gazette #1 is now available on DriveThru RPG, right?
Yes, it is the revamped version of the issue we originally released in, I want to say 2014. And it's expanded. I think it's about 50% longer. It has a couple new articles. Everything's been revised a little bit at least, or sometimes more significantly. So yeah, it's 75 pages and $8 PDF, 13 for print.
That one is themed on Arkham. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't help but do Arkham for the first regular issue.
Yeah, sure. I think it was Aylesbury Pike was 0. Is that right?
Yeah, that was sort of a proof of concept I started working on back when the topic had originally been suggested, or the idea of a magazine was suggested by Keith Herber when he started Miskatonic River Press. And then I asked about it. And he said, yeah, we got some books to do and we're really busy. And then I started putting some notes together. And then unfortunately, when he died, that I was obviously shelved, and I revitalized it a couple of years back in 13. I started working on it again. So I did a demo issue for 0, which was the Aylesbury Pike, and then issues 1 and 2 on my own, and then a Kickstarter for issue 3 in 2015. And then that came out 2016, because it took longer than I expected, as everything seems to if you are working on it, especially on Kickstarter. But
sure.
Especially that issue, the issue number 3 was ended up being 120 pages.
Mm-hmm.
So,
just a little zine,
mission creep.
And that Kickstarter also included these upgrades or
Yes.
sort of revisions. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a professional layout done by Chris Huth, a little bit of new artwork here and there, some new articles, mostly by myself, but a couple other contributors pitched in, improved handouts by Dean. Oh wow,
Englehart.
Englehart.
Right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's just redo. Yeah.
Yeah, some new handouts by Dean Englehart, and just sprucing things up, I guess. And it took a little while to get issue 0 redone, just because there was a lot going on in my life. We had a new baby, and my parents kept deciding to go to the hospital intermittently, for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. They're always sitting there like, how can we keep Brett busy? I know. Let me get my blood pressure way up there. So
he needs a new hobby.
Yeah, he loves the ER. So, but those things happen, and it's mostly a one-person job. Chris obviously is doing the layout, so that's hopefully he's not having the same sorts of issues. But so yeah, issue 0 was redone last spring, actually toward the summer, and then issue 1 was done around November, but with layout issues and trying to tweak things. Especially right around the Christmas holiday, DriveThru was a little busy. So that didn't officially come out until the first week of January, when it was available for sale, and it has been doing pretty well. So I'm quite happy with that. People seem to have finally, there's enough critical mass of issues out there with issue 3, issue 0, I guess, and issue 1. I know the issue 0 thing confuses some folks, but it's just I maybe my little weird tribute to the old free PDF, the Unbound book, which had issue 0, 1, and 2.
Ah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
But content in
Yes.
AG1, if people wanted to
Sure.
go to DriveThru RPG, the link will be in the doobly-doo. And but what's an overview? We've got, I know new content includes diners, for example, some layouts.
Overview on Arkham's diners. I took the 4, I think, that Keith Herber originally had in the book, and then a city of size of Arkham, which is, a little nebulously populated, but maybe 35, 45, 50,000 people, probably have more than 4. So I added 2 more working diners, and then 1 more, 1 diner, 1 dining car, which was the original sort of dining wagon or night wagon, I think they were called, where people would roll up a wagon and sell food at night to people coming out of bars or getting off the late midnight shift. And then 1 regular diner, and then 1 burned out, sort of abandoned, spooky, semi-spooky location that you could use for nefarious goings on. A burned out diner always seemed like a creepy place to have a meeting. So
sure.
Just actually looking at my copy now. Yeah, we had sorry, oopsie. I had to grab it off the shelf. Yeah, so there's an article on. I went through all of the Arkham scenarios. I think there are 49 that are mostly or entirely set in Arkham. And then pulled out some interesting locations from the scenarios that don't show up in Arkham now, or the Arkham Unveiled / H.P. Lovecraft's Arkham, and sort of expanded the description of those. It was like a Irish social club and weird house outside of town with its own abandoned private zoo, abandoned theater. There's a lot of abandoned, creepy locations, oddly enough. And then
it's the right town for it.
Yeah, definitely. I also took a historical thing, which was the what they call the state school system, which was they weren't schools so much as sort of asylums for children and adults with mental illness and deficiencies. Things like fetal alcohol syndrome or Down syndrome, or other sort of neurological problems that we might actually treat today. They just sort of stuck them in these sort of semi-rehabilitation schools and packed them off to the side of society. I put one in Arkham called the Gladding School, which was in part based on the real Rhode Island institution called the Ladd School. Sorry for the not very obvious change of name, but there's a lot of scenario options there and opportunities for some creepy stuff going on. Obviously, with very marginalized, isolated group of children, terrible things can happen. Oh, the other thing they took in was also young girls who were having babies because clearly they had a mental deficiency.
Right. Who would?
Yeah,
right, exactly.
What 17-year-old without a child out of wedlock? It must be a
Right.
neurological problem.
Are you out of your mind? Right.
Yes, exactly. It was just a way to get rid of unwanted kids. And then there's an overview of thaumaturgical prodigies in the New England Canaan, which is a tome that Lovecraft created originally and then Derleth repurposed. And I sort of tried to chisel all the Derleth off of it because Derleth had it being written in 1805, and no one in 1805 was writing a book title that sounded like it was from 1670. It's one of those. I like to try to include one tome every issue, sort of a deep dive into a particular book. I know I'll eventually run out of them, but for now, there's enough. Hi, Lila. How are you, honey? I'm just talking on the phone. Do you want to snuggle with me a little bit while I talk? Yeah, I'm just talking to my friend Chad. Do you want to say hi? No. How are you feeling, sweetie?
So
Do you need some medicine? We can go to the store in just a little bit. Did you want to get some breakfast? Okay. Sorry about that. She's
no problem.
And then we also have an article, sort of short bits on New England towns were required by law to put up boundary markers to show where the property lines were. I talked a little about that in one article and how you might use that in a game. And then a couple scenario seeds, one about stolen manholes, and then another one of a strange fight on a city street in Arkham. And then a prop document of an academic paper, sort of psychological paper, journal article. That's what I'm trying to say, about people who claim there's an invisible monster drinking their blood. And then also the other diners article, a couple strange items we're calling Arkham Curios, or just little artifacts you can drop into a campaign that are scenario seeds or leads into a bigger plot, or just strangeness that can sort of spice up your game. And then there's, of course, the index of all the Arkham scenarios I could find, including what monsters are involved, what places are involved, a quick synopsis, some keeper notes, ranging from everything from, some, structural problems with the scenario, or, good ways to link it to another scenario, to one scenario very early on. And I believe the Asylum and other tales where the word cemetery is misspelled throughout. So that's a small point, but I noticed it.
Cemetery with an A, maybe.
Yeah, cemetery. I think on the map it's spelled correctly, but in the text it's not. And then lastly, there's our scenario, which is the Bosworth House, which is by Ben Wenham, and was a scenario about individual madness, about a woman who has killed her husband. The investigators are tasked to sort of look into why, and for most of them, it just seems to be a tragic, sort of domestic tragedy. But for one, they start perceiving hints of something more occult going on. It's it's a challenging scenario, where one investigator's perceptions don't match the rest, and how do you respond to that? Do you trust your friend, or do you assume they're mad as well?
Cool. Yeah,
I like that one a lot.
Yeah. And lots of good deep dive material if you're running an Arkham campaign, or if you're running a scenario you can pull in. In fact, I was able to use your diner layout, although I moved it to where I wanted it.
Sure. Yeah, we do have maps of all the diners, which were I believe that was Jeff Wilkins who made those for us. It was a nice addition to the issue.
Very cool. And so how many pages is that one, number one?
75, I want to say, including that one blank page we're required to put. No, 70. It'll be 76, including the blank page in back that drive-through makes you put it in there. But yeah, so 75 pages of actual content.
Great. And that is for the price point of $8 on Drive-Thru RPG.
Yes.
And Arkham Gazette, if you missed out on that, is available for $12.
Yes, the PDF.
For the PDF, yeah. Oh, wait, you can actually, well, hang on. Let me just get my facts straight here. $8 for AG1 is for the PDF,
yes,
right?
And $13 for the print.
Yeah. Okay. Did I say that? Did you say that?
I think I said that earlier, yeah.
All right. And AG3 is $12 for the PDF. And how much for the print?
I believe 20.
Yes, it is 20. Yes. And when you buy the physical copy, you actually get the PDF, right? Sorry, we'll say this again so it sounds right. But when you buy the soft cover, do you get the PDF? Can't tell. Oh, are you there? Uh-oh. I have lost audio. I see that you are live. Is it possible that you have hit a mute? Could be me. I am still unable to hear you. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Can you, can you reach the chat if you can hear me?
Hello.
Hey.
Let's go get you some breakfast. Sorry, I had an incoming phone call. I had to.
Oh, no worries.
And everything sort of went away.
No problem. Do you need to take a break?
No, I can just. I think we're just about done. I'm just gonna get her something to munch on here. Do you want a juice box, Lila? So yeah, I mean it's the. So yeah, all of our print-on-demand copies come with their own free copy of the PDF. So it's $13 for issue 1, $20 for issue 3. And then our issue 0 is print on demand. I think it's the print cost, or I rounded up a couple cents so it wouldn't fluctuate too much. It's $3 for the print, but that's pay what you want for the PDF. So if you want to check out the magazine, you can get a free. Sorry, don't squeak the door, sweetie. Yeah, so it's print on our issue 0 is pay what you want for the PDF, and then I think the print cost of printing for the print on demand.
Right, great. And so, okay, so Arkham Gazette 2 is now in revision, and
Yes,
that's the Innsmouth issue. Yep.
Yes, that was the larger issue than issue 1, so it doesn't need quite as much expansion to reach my sort of ideal length. And that has all of the articles are being proofread again, a couple being revised and expanded. I'm rereading all of the Innsmouth scenarios one more time just to see if there's anything interesting I've missed or useful, or see if anything's been added since I made that list back in 2014. I think that issue is 2015 actually. Yeah, that was spring of 2015. Back when they're coming out every 6 months, but that's got scenario in it, and then I think 12 articles. I'm going to add one more at least that I had in draft form originally. I think I have 2 that I can probably easily finish up. My goal is to get the text of it all settled by the end of, well, hopefully this month, at least the revisions, and then any new articles would be maybe next month, and then try to get that out by March, April at the latest.
Cool. And Arkham Gazette number 4, which will focus on Kingsport, I understand.
Yes. Long in development Kingsport issue, since we announced it when we did the Kickstarter back in 2015, but that's got 2 scenarios currently, a dozen articles, probably closer to 100, 120 pages than closer to issue 3 in size. It's going to have the Kickstarter scenario, The Bones of Contention by Kevin Ross, who wrote the original Kingsport book, which was out to our Kickstarter backers, but not publicly available anywhere. That's going to be in there. I think the other scenarios by Christopher Smith Adair. And then a bunch of articles. We're still looking for, we can still take submissions because we're still in the works on it. So that's still open. We've got a submissions page. We can also check out our Google Plus group. Either way, we've also got a Twitter account, which I occasionally post things to. You can follow us in social media there. I've got a Facebook page, which I keep forgetting to update because I can't remember my password. I know no one should admit, but it's true.
Gotcha.
I don't use Facebook personally, so I don't remember what email account was actually the start of it, and I seem to have deleted the founding email, so I just need to guess which one it is and start having them reload my password, I guess, or maybe I'll just start it all over again. I don't know. It's not been updated since the Kickstarter, so hopefully no one's trying to follow along there.
Right. Well, we'll link to everything but Facebook, perhaps.
If you want to see an artifact of 2015, there you go.
Right. Great. All right. Well, I think that covers your Arkham Gazette news. Anything else you want to share?
Well, I mean, I've got a Patreon for Sentinel Hill Press in general, which I use mostly to buy research materials. It took a little bit of a slowdown after our second child came along back in September, but it's picking up again. I think the most recent thing I posted was a sample from a book in development for us called Graveyards of Lovecraft Country. I profiled a cemetery from Blackwater Creek of the scenario of the same name with some updates and adjustments and expansions, because the scenario only mentions a cemetery in one sentence, so I could go nuts with it. But other things in there, just as previews of what we're working on, interesting articles and links, book reviews from books I'm buying, thanks to the generosity of our Patreon backers. I picked up a copy of Lovecraft's Library, the guide by Joshi, and I've been going through that and highlighting some of the interesting books that are available publicly, like on archive.org or Google Books, that Lovecraft had in his library. I'm trying to find the exact editions as best I can. So that's something I'm putting out there just for our backers. Not every book, because he had over 1,000, but just the occult themed titles or ones that might be of interest, ghost story collections and things. Although strangely, he seems to buy them from all like 1925s. They're all just barely in copyright.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're probably getting the most recent, for those who's getting more recent editions, but like folklore books and things, he tended to get ones from like 1870 because a lot of them came out in the 1880s and 90s. So,
got it.
I'm trying to think of anything else going on. Yeah, so that's, it's for just $1 a month, you can support a poor child who's trying to buy a lot more books for his library shelf.
You talking about yourself or?
Yeah, I am talking about myself. Eventually, I mean, my kids will get these eventually, and I hope they won't just look at them and go, but yeah, I've got a backlog of books I need to go over and to offer some comments on that just sort of built up over the past couple months. But I've been reading through them. I just haven't had a chance to comment on those, trying to, work on that 3rd episode of our podcast, which is a year late now. But, I'd rather get magazine issues out rather than get that done. So I've been prioritizing. I hope people appreciate that.
Yeah, you've got focus as a publisher. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm not quite sure about Necronomicon with everything going on. It's a little bit hard to wrangle with being in the Midwest and not wanting to foist off the kids for 4 days while I go.
Sure.
Let's go talk about Lovecraft kids. Hey, when they're a little older, it's easier, but not living in Massachusetts right now has made it a little harder to sort of just say I'll go. But maybe I'll be there. If I will, I'll let you guys know.
That would be great. Obviously, we'd love to see you, hang out, talk Cthulhu.
Indeed. Just appreciate the chance to talk to you guys about, or I guess to you, about the updates, and hopefully we'll get issue 2 out soon. Issue 4, I'm hoping to get out before Necronomicon. We'll see how things go. The scenarios are written, so that's the heart of the issue, but the other articles are in development. So I think I've got about 40,000 words in-house now, and I'm looking for about 70. So we'll see.
Great. Well, thanks for the update,
Sure.
and I appreciate your time, and we'll catch up with you again down the road.
Take care, Chad.
Yep. Take it easy.
Bye.